does it?
Sorry, Paulie, it looks like you're playing on.
Oh, I thought I did. Sorry. Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Excellent, thank you.
Testing. Oh.
It's the official NRL Fantasy Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the official NRL Fantasy Podcast. I'm Paulie G. With me, Luke Seifleet as always, and Eric Wells down from mighty Newcastle. How are you?
Good, mate. Good.
Had to bring the heavy hitter on.
Yeah.
We're going to talk buys, and Eric's done a lot of planning around the buy draws, so we're going to get into that because 1 month to go, and guess what? Round 12 this week, this year, right? Not round 13.
early.
So what does that mean?
What's early?
It means you can only make 3 trades that round, not 4. Usually, first week of buys, we get that 4th trade window open up. We don't have to quite plan as early.
That's why your moves are important this retirement round.
That's right.
That's
so
why-
from now on, you've got to have one eye on it, right?
Yep.
And that's why we've had to...
Well, that's why I had to bring the brains of the industry in here.
Yeah.
Now we have to get their
Brains.
brains trust.
Yeah.
But it just helps those 50-50 calls. So when you're thinking about the players to bring in, is one a chance of origin, and how much do they play during those buy periods?
Yeah.
Bringing him in.
Let's have a look at what you've
easier
done.
with your choices.
What did we think of this round? There was a lot of mid-round carnage, wasn't there?
Yeah.
The Titans, the two of the heavy hitters going down, and most of us owned at least one of them.
That ruined a lot of people's big scores. I mean, a lot of people did get a big score, but a lot of people
Avoided those two. You got over 1,000 pretty much.
Well, I did see, based off the chatter, a lot of people were kind of locked into Campbell too because they VC'd him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
And I mean, it's
That's
understandable.
why we say
VCing.
VC a guy in that first game because you
Yeah.
just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if there's any way you can make make the VC game. Like, look at Haas this round,
Yeah.
right? He plays first up.
Yeah.
If you own Cleary or May,
throw a seater
just
in
make
the
sure the VC's on Haas, or like you said, the captain, and then but vice captain then becomes a nervous weight, you know, because you can't.
Yeah.
Once they're locked in, it's over.
You had a good round, Paulie.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, we were all roughly the same. in the
Every
end,
point matters.
but every point matters.
Good
so
good 980 or something, right?
I think it was around 980.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
pretty
you're
good.
right. You're right.
That's why I pay you the big bucks,
yeah,
Paulie.
Yeah. So, it's interesting we're talking buy rounds, but we've also got to remember this is when some of the Origin players stand up, right? So
The resume's out.
the question is for this week: do you go early and get the Origin?
Are you planting the seed there a bit, Paulie, for your future moves? I think you are. I think you're kind of just laying it out there a little bit, aren't
I'm
you?
saying that.
A certain Queensland fullback and
saying that
5'8", you're going for?
if you're going to look at, if you haven't got Munster or Ponga.
You just don't understand fantasy? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm saying if you haven't got them, you might want to consider it. If you have got them, you might want to hold them. I know they both have probably underwhelmed with their fantasy scores in the last month, but this is the time when Origin players stand up because they want to ensure selection. Now, Tom did and was pretty good for Queensland. I'm not saying he's going to get selected over Munster, but coming off a loss, the Storm versus Souths, and Cam Munster, very important game for Melbourne, also a very important game to just say, Billy, I'm the six.
I think they know he's the guy. I think.
Yes, but
Yeah,
wanna
I
have
get what
the
you're saying.
proof.
You want a call to arms of all the Origin
You want
players.
to call it arms. I like
That's
that.
right. You're throwing
You
it
wanna
out
call
there.
to
You're throwing it out there. I get
So,
it. I get
Cam,
it.
if you're listening,
Just will it
fingers.
to happen. I get
raise the bat.
it. I get it.
You can do it.
Well, Munster was one. Ponga's the other, right?
Ponga could be another one. I'm still interested in Kiraz because he's an outside smoky to play Origin still, with both To'o and Lomax injured
The wing, yeah.
on the wing, right? So Kiraz could be a guy who could be really stepping it up over the next month.
That's not what Cyfleet was.
No, I got him last week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but if he goes well, you're going to
yeah,
get some
I
monster
still think
He's not going to get selected if he's scoring 30s in fantasy.
Yeah.
Right? He's going to have to put up some big numbers to look at what Hudson Young's done. He's like one of the best scorers in fantasy, top 5.
Yeah.
And he's basically cemented an
Well,
Origin.
that whole Canberra Raiders team's just a fantasy dream island, really. Like seriously, who's not a dad on that team, really, that people don't own?
It's not even just
No such
this
thing.
year either. It just seems to be years gone by as well.
They are the fantasy hub this year. Like if you got players in their team, you're killing it.
Yeah.
Fogarty.
Yep.
Get your questions in. We're going to answer them after we go through the previews. But first of all, okay, these buy rounds. Do you have your little thing there, Eric?
Yeah,
because you're going to have to.
Oh, here you go.
bring
He's
it out.
Paul, here we go. Look out.
The phone's out.
Here we go. The old lab's coming out
And
here.
what I want to say is that this year, rounds 13, 16 and 19, you only have to play your starting 13.
That's very key.
Which is very key. It's good, but there's also a problem. If you've got too many hookers, too many halves, too many edges, too many centres, it's actually going to work against you.
I'm seeing a lot of colours there, Floggy. I'm getting very.
So,
I need to colour.
Mate, this is outstanding.
who are some of the teams that you're targeting
Yep.
in the early part of these buy rounds?
Yeah, so I mean, straight off the bat, you've got Roosters. Roosters play every single buy round because they're the ones who have nailed the round 14 buy and the round 17.
And most of us
17
own a
buy.
fair few Roosters, right?
Well, the NRL team, mate, you just did one with Molars where you got 5 Roosters, don't
The
you?
official team is 5
There you go.
Roosters.
So they're the main call out because they just. I think this is the first year in a long time that one team has played all of the buy rounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's key from the start. The only problem is the likes of Teddy. Is he going to be there? Is he not? So that's
I think
the
Edwards,
question.
I think in that one-on-one
I still
battle,
think-
pardon the pun,
I still think it's a long way to go.
it's a long way to go, but I think Edwards is now reconfirmed for now. But also, we should mention the Roosters have around 10 buy.
Yeah.
So you can't hold 5.
Right.
You probably 3 is the max,
Yeah,
right? Depending on what happens.
I think so.
In round 10, because if we get hit with another Hubner out for a week, Max Plath, will he play
Yeah.
one? Yes, he's been named. Fafita, will he play one? Yes, he's been named. And you've still got 3 Roosters, well, you could be playing 16 in round 10.
Well,
so
automatically, the fact that round 14 and round 17, you need you need
That's back
you
to
need
17.
a full team. You
Yeah.
need 17
Yeah,
players.
but you'd
So-
think most the Origin guys will all be playing those ones. So if you've kept the
Yes.
Cleary, if you've kept the Haas,
Well, this goes back to the chat that we had at the start of the year. How many Origin guys can you hold?
what are the other guys, other teams after the Roosters that you're
So
recommending?
the Knights are another one.
Yep.
Because they play the first 4 bye rounds as well.
Yeah.
So they're the other one, and I believe Manly. I think Manly's the other ones. They play a lot at the very start.
And the 3 teams I would target: Bulldogs, Dolphins, and Sharks, because that round 13 bye, you only have to have 13
Right.
players. So if you've got 4 or 5 guys from
Yep.
them
Yeah.
combined, and they're red dots for you in round 13, it probably won't cost you at all, because all the Origin guys will probably back up. Most of them will probably
Yep.
back up. So unless you really get unlucky, and you can make trades in round 13 as well, if you did get a little bit unlucky. But I'm thinking for mine, for Bulldogs players, Kiraz and King. And I've already
Well,
pressed.
tell you what. Well, King's impressing the hell out of people. Like he's
Yeah.
a lot of people don't have him either. Like he's just braining it
They're
every
guys
week.
you want during that period. And then I'm thinking Herbie Farmworth. I know he's expensive, but everyone's made a lot of money this year. There's been a lot of cash cows.
Yeah.
It's just that centre spot.
I just don't like investing much in the centre.
But by round
Yeah, I get
12,
what you're saying. I
You've
get
got
what you're
more money.
saying. I just think I'm better off just going the loot.
I'll raise you the
And then
Kiraz,
and
where
then-
you've got the duel. And
Yeah, that's the
where
thing.
that
and
works.
Plath, which a lot of people jumped and got him unluckily, but he has been named, so maybe you get away with it.
He might be all right.
But
He
Plath
might be okay.
clearly is a good buy round.
Well, again, with all this carnage with Grant, you talk about the
Unless-
Edwards thing.
yeah, unless-
he's a smoky for Origin
Unless
now.
Harry Grant can't play Origin and they make Plath the bench.
Because he's perfect because he can play hook around middle.
And even half.
He's can play.
Even second
It
row.
could, it,
play
could,
almost
it,
any-
it
he
could
can play
very,
anywhere.
it could very well come down to a showdown between Plath and Hopgood.
Yeah, well, Hopgood's played.
'Cause they're very
dummy
similar.
half too
Well,
lately.
you've also then got the Watson and Plath battle. Like they're literally the utility guys, right?
Yeah, they could both be
slide
the
in
two
everywhere.
14s. And Sharks, Adam Fanua-Blake, you've got to keep a close eye on him, right? Tim
Well-
Norton people like him, Britton Nicker as well, but that bye schedule's nice for Sharks.
Great man Moll's already got AFB, so he's already ahead of it.
Yeah, exactly. Shall we talk some of these games?
I think we should.
Thursday night footy is Broncos v the Bulldogs, and Reece Walsh is out for Brisbane. So he looked like he played that whole game hurt.
Well,
To be fair.
He slowed down. He moved over to the wing for portions of the game.
It was the
as well.
very first
Yeah.
hit up. And normally a fullback doesn't take that hit up. It was a
Well,
bit of a disaster scenario.
Me and Floggy were watching the game. I told Floggy, he said literally what same thing happened to Turbo against the Eels.
Yeah.
He got injured early.
Yep.
He stayed on.
But
And then basically at half time they said, mate, let's
low
not
fantasy
risk it.
score because
yeah,
you're
just
not
pull him.
putting any stats on the
and
board.
what happened in the middle of that game, he actually moved to the wing.
Yeah.
So
So
Dean,
he was cooked.
so Dean Mariner's the new winger. Shibasaki keeps his spot, but Shibasaki now looks to a Pete. So it's a bit tricky, but he might.
It's going to be
right.
tough with
Maybe.
a defensive team too.
Yeah, and Billy Walters is starting. He was a late switch in last week. He's still starting. So Corey Pake's owners, I think you got to
Yep.
move on now because he's not going to get the same amount of minutes. And some people were hoping Brendan Piakura would get named to start, but he's only on the edge. So Xavier Willison's done enough to keep a starting spot.
I think they're trying to figure out a formula with them, especially we talked about Broncos at the start of the year. They've got all the talent in the world to win it, but the problem is that the sum of their parts are not all collectively coming together. So the problem is now they're kind of going how Reece Walsh is going at the moment. They have 15 minutes of brilliance and 15 minutes of just absolute, you just don't know what they're
I
doing.
almost wonder it will be better for them to have
They're-
a month without Reece, just to get
Yeah,
to the match
100%.
style.
But their power is in their forwards, right? Their trick has to be they have to figure out how to have Willison, Haas, Carrigan
Ricky.
all on the field together, and Ricky all on the field together.
And that's why they've put Willison.
That's right.
to 11.
Wilson's going well. He just pops up everywhere.
Because he's almost playing. I think they're almost going to try and do the Murray with him a little bit and go. You'll start on the edge, but you'll move.
Move when Carrigan or
When the
Haas
Carrigan
needs a
gets the
break.
rest.
Yep.
Jensen can come on as well. So they've got good cover there. Against the Bulldogs, who are so strong defensively, does that actually help a high Haas score?
That's a great question. That's what I was going to say. That's going to be the thing that you have to think about all week. One of your biggest questions is, do you risk putting the C on Haas? I mean, he got a good score again last. I mean, I argue if Walsh doesn't get that ball in the full, he probably gets more than May.
Well, he probably
because
gets to 90,
He plays
yeah,
5 minutes
the
of golden
extra,
point and he gets
five each way,
massive
who knows?
runs.
Yeah,
But
and he was offloading at will in the last 10 minutes.
against the best defensive team in the league, are they going to lock him up? or is he going to attract more attention
To allow the...
That's going to be the thing.
Predictor has him top this week.
That's what I mean.
Because
So,
teams against the Bulldogs, there's less points scored, right?
Yeah.
There's less stoppages of the game where the clock's still going.
Yeah.
So therefore, the ball in play is going to be high. Haas is going to touch the ball more. He's got to make more tackles because they go up the middle all the time. The Bulldogs do it more than any other team. They don't go out the back; they go up the middle. How many tackles is he going to make?
It just feels like this kind of matchup. It feels like a Carrigan game to me. I don't know why.
Well, we've seen
I
that
think
as
both
well.
of them will go really well.
Yeah.
But we've seen the minutes bounce between the two. We saw more minutes at a Haas this time. So does
Carrigan
that mean
had a
then
lot as well.
I don't want to say it, but again, because it affects because of the team I go for. But I think you'd be very brave captaining Haas if you've got Cleary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I think
You're worried.
I think
You're worried.
Paulie's
We'll get
take.
to that.
I think Paulie's take is you VC Haas,
Game one.
and then you put the C on the other two.
Let's go to talk about the other team. We've already mentioned Kiraz and King a lot. I think Jake Kiraz could be a buy this week.
Yeah.
I think. It's a
I think he was a buy. I think he was a buy last week.
Yeah.
And mate, and to be honest,
Preston?
they bombed 2 tries. Like he literally could have had a 67.
Preston as well.
Yeah, I think Preston just speaks for himself.
He's a great keeper.
The only danger with Preston again is that Dogs are in form. Like Reid, Kiraz, they're all going to start getting mentioned for Origin.
Yeah, well,
That's your only danger. Because I think Preston is literally one injury away from really being in that frame.
If Hudson Young hadn't been playing so well, I'd be with you. But I still think Martin, Crichton, Olakau'atu, and now Young, Preston's 5th on the list. He's still a while back.
He's in the chat though, so
He's in the chat. That's what you have to factor in. He's just in the chat.
Yeah.
You got to be prepared to not play with him.
Yeah.
And we want Dogs players when we get it later on.
To
because that's what we
flog
talked
his
about.
point, yeah.
That's what we talked about. Let's talk Roosters and Dragons. It's the huge ANZAC Day clash, and it's going to be a brilliant one, as it always is. And I think for the Roosters, the big news, of course, is Dom Young's been dropped.
Yep.
So Mark
Billy Smith has forced.
Side.
Billy Smith and Mark have both forced the hand.
Yeah.
They're playing too well.
Especially Mark last
You
week.
can't leave them out.
Did you guys bring in
No way.
Savala last week?
Yeah.
I didn't myself.
Yeah, I
but
did.
I need that. I
downgraded from Sandon Smith to Avala.
That's what I did as well.
I don't have the half cover at the moment, so I've just got
Yeah.
the main two. But because of the break-even conundrum with Savala,
Yeah.
that's the main thing about him. He's still at the same price. So
Yeah, so this is the week because he's got a
is the week.
break even of 13.
Yeah,
so
this
he's not staying at that price anymore.
Apple cart's been upturned,
Yeah.
and now he's on the way up.
It's a very, very, very interesting game too.
Well, Connor Watson's been he's another one where people got rid of him, but in the lead up to Origin, I got a feeling he just pumps out 60
Absolutely.
after 60.
That's why I didn't get rid of him.
I think
Yeah,
players
that was a
hold
great
him.
score last
Absolutely.
week. Siwa Wong bounced back. Nafu White really bounced back. White was outstanding.
It's just oozes an Angus game to me.
And then Angus is back after missing last week. Egan Butcher on the bench, I think that's one to note because we know in the past he's played big minutes. He might take Thomas and those other guys. He might even become fantasy relevant. Not yet, but he might become fantasy relevant. And then Tedesco, even though he had the low score last week, a lot of people are going to eye him off.
Well,
You talked about the Roosters being a good, maybe round 11, maybe after their bye, you could pick up Tedesco potentially.
Well, this is where he started going bananas last year.
Yeah.
He went nuts at
Well,
this
he's another
stage.
guy. He's going to want to put it all, the resume out there,
Yeah.
right?
But also too, his team just requires it. They're on the bottom of the ladder. Dragons are going we're going to get to the Dragons. We said at the Dragons start of the year. What did we say?
Yeah, well, let's
they're
talk about them.
They're a flano team. They're just going to play.
And who's been
They
going
play
well?
tough.
Toby Couch.
Mate, I get so
Dylan
triggered.
Egan.
I get so triggered talking about. I should have just put him in my team start of the year.
Well, his brother getting hurt probably
Yeah, I know.
really opened it up because at the time it was sort of like, well, they're both kind of looking like they're going to overachieve, and then it became obvious.
I said to you and Brad off air here, like, Brad, I said, mate, he's almost a must-own. He's playing too well.
I feel like he's someone that should be in everyone's team at some point, right? Like for me, I'm looking at my makeup of my team. My mids are really good. My edges are really good. My outside backs need a lot of work. So maybe for the next month, I just focus on that. But then after their round 12 bye, I'll be looking to flip one of my Origin stars.
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't know which one.
That's fair.
I've got
Toby.
like somebody like a Yo in my head to flick to Toby.
Yeah.
On that round 12, someone like that.
And with your buy scheduling, do you look at, like, Toby's not going to play Origin, so is that
Right.
a thing that you're saying? Well, Max King we talked about earlier,
Yep.
and Toby Couchman, these are the sort of guys
Yeah.
I want.
Yeah, absolutely. They're the guys that you like. When you look at it, the amount of teams that have got Haas, May, Yo as the mids,
Yeah.
my team included. So
Yeah.
once you factor all those guys strongly or likely, apart from May, those two are definite. May's
still
a
could.
strong chance.
Yeah.
You factor those in, that's all your main mid guys gone. So then that's now when you're starting to look at your Couchmans. I mean, Horsburgh, everyone's still got Horsburgh as well, but he's a chance
Yeah.
as well. So I think everyone's sport for mids at the moment. As soon as those Origin teams get picked, I think that's where it's going to get interesting with sides, because it's going to be that decision that you make is going to be the teams are going to start looking very different. And I think that's
Who's holding?
that's the main point.
Who's holding who?
Yeah, get that hold right.
Let's talk Warriors v the Knights now. Another great ANZAC Day matchup, and of course over in New Zealand, which is fantastic for them. They're going great. That was a huge win.
massive.
Celebrating the first game, of course, which was against the Broncos back in 1995, and despite all the guys out injured, they still got the job done, got the win. That was great. And Luke Metcalf stepping up, I thought.
Yeah.
They're annoying at home.
They are.
They're a good team.
They're a completely
And
different
they're a
team.
Very good team
Absolutely.
at home. And they got Nickel Kluksar back. They got Rocco Berry back. This is going to help them. They're starting to look strong.
Well, yeah, pump your tyres up a bit. Who did you mention?
Aaron
Who
Clark.
you been flagging?
Yeah, Aaron Clark's a guy that I really like. Brought him in last week because of the dual position, and again, just one eye on Origin. Get him in there. He's going to cover a lot of roles over that period, but obviously that was a good score. He played the first 40. I
Yeah.
don't know if he's going to do that this week because Cape was back into the pack. But the way that Webster likes to put guys like Laban and Halasima on the edges,
Yeah,
well, he
helps.
needs his middles,
Yeah.
which Barnett's another. Even Ford. Like Ford had one of his best fantasy games in a while.
Oh, he's in the middle, mate. That's right.
Yeah. So the pigs are standing up for
Yep.
them.
Not only that, too, with Clark, he's one of the very few hooker spots that's not playing hooker for that first bye too.
Yeah.
So him and Plath are the two
Yeah.
main guys, because outside of that, you've just got the regular hookers.
Good shout,
who
Foggy. Yep.
I think
generally
you want one of
outside-
those
you want one of
too.
them.
And
Yep.
especially if Plath
And then-
ends up playing Origin, you're going to need Clark.
We're gonna mention your other one too.
Barnett. Yeah. So I think we talked about Origin players who might really skyrocket.
Yep.
Well, obviously he played Origin last year.
Well, it's coming down to him versus May, right?
Him maybe Uto. Like I think,
Yeah, it's a good.
and then if you're going like Hudson Young might get there as well.
Oh, I think Hudson's in there regardless. So
Yeah.
I think he'll be the 17th man.
I think Barnett can get there, definitely. If they don't go either Uto or May.
What have you got for Barnett this week?
I think he'll have a good game again. 55 minutes has been his average. He probably needs to get up to that 65.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Do you know
That's
what
where
I
he
mean?
was last year, though.
And it's-
His points
You
went
could-
really
you
well.
could-
What was
Give him an
what
extra
was the
5
game where he got
minutes.
100 and he just went?
Yeah.
He just went. He
That was a
played.
bit later in
He
the-
played like.
He didn't play Origin game
Didn't he?
one,
But
right?
it wasn't it after the Origin game, or was it
first-
before?
It was
the first
bef-
one that was
He didn't
almost-
play the first Origin game,
almost-
and
Yeah,
that's
I know
when
that,
he went.
yeah.
But it was after Origin had started, and then he just went.
So you got. It was before game 2, was
It
it?
was almost what earned him the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was before. I thought it was
He
wondering
had
if it
a
was
few
before or
big-
after game 2.
he had a few big
He had that
scores,
game.
though.
Yeah, but that game where he went
Wasn't-
absolutely nuts.
It wasn't the only one, because he had in that period, and that's why, as I said, round 14, so the week after first Origin, which he didn't play in 60.
Yeah, 100,
Then
110.
a 68,
There you go, yeah.
then a
110.
75, and then 110, and then another 66
Yeah,
off
he's
the
wor-
back
he's
of
wor-
game
he's
three.
worth keeping an eye on. Because the problem is if you can't get to Couchman,
And the duel.
yeah.
Dual position, you might end up having them both. 45 predicted this week at 55 minutes. So he
Hashtag
needs-
cookie, I need more.
He needs the 65 minutes, and
Yeah.
then suddenly it's looking good. So that's where it's at with him.
Okay.
What about the Knights? Eric,
Oh.
that's your team.
Floggy, floor's yours, champ.
Well, I was at the game, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah.
But
2 weeks in a row.
They've just got so many injuries, mate.
I think the lack of a number 7. That's why they've gone and spent all that money on Dylan Brown, because they need someone that's going to take over.
No, Safidi's just killing them.
But the no Safidi and Lucas as well is huge.
He's back
so
this
the
week,
fact
though.
that Lucas is back.
Where's Cant going to play? A lot of people brought him in. He's on the bench.
But this was the worry. This was the concern.
Yeah.
Because all the questions were coming in. Do I bring in Cant? And it was just Lucas weren't 100% on when he was coming back, because I think he was originally pegged around round 9 to be back.
Yeah, it was a big hamstring injury.
And we don't know. Like, they've had to fly.
It's like Fafita being named. Just because he's been named doesn't mean
the fast turnaround. They've just had to get anyone.
Well, O'Brien made a point of that on his presser on Sunday night. He said, "Mate, we've got to get on a plane the next day. I'm going to have to scramble the team. We're going to have to really." He basically laid the foundation to go. We're going to have to put a real gutsy performance in to get over the top.
Cogger and Lucas in the 22, but no guarantee either of them will play.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You need them both.
That team could be a lot different before kickoff.
Kalen Ponga owners, they're getting really frustrated. A few people where I've said hold, and now they've had enough. They're not going to listen to me anymore.
Yeah. Well, some people have just.
They're not.
Some people just moved off just purely because week on week you're just seeing his cash drop. So I think
he'll turn it around.
Oh, he definitely could, but I also understand, like, for some people seeing just red every week, some people just want to get moved.
Is this the week, Paulie? You think this is the week?
Is this?
Are you willing to look in the barrel of the camera and go, "This is it"? Are you willing to put it on the line?
He's going over there. You know, he likes playing in New Zealand. He's got the heritage, the Maori heritage.
I'm sensing a Brad vertical video here, guarantee.
He's got the
be
Maori
good.
heritage. I'm saying at least 60.
Whoa!
60, which is
whoa! That's massive for a wing fullback.
At least.
Whoa, that's a big call.
Look, if anything, I'm having semi-final vibes myself.
Oh yeah.
Over there, it's
2 years ago.
They need a response.
Yeah.
Because they've just got no life in it at the moment.
Yeah. Look, what they showed right at the very end of the game was
yeah,
great,
that's right.
But it was over. So look, if we can at least get to some shades of that'd be great.
Yeah.
But look, I've been a Knights fan for too long to rest on expecting some greatness. So look, I'll be happy.
It'll be a big bounce back.
If we can stay in the fight and show some attack,
You need a
I'll be a
bounce
happy
back.
fan.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he only scored 28 in that game.
You looked in the camera, Paul. He's 60.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to put those demons to rest.
Mate, that's a big call.
But Lucas is another big one in.
Oh, mate, he's a huge call.
Not just for the one-ups, but also the second phase play as well. He follows the play, and so does Sharp. So having more than one person.
It's a big fantasy game, this, because you got a lot of guys there that can really swing your rank because they don't own them all. So.
Greg Marjou's predicted to score 63 on the back of that big score last week.
Well, O'Brien made a point to really shout him out. Like he was incredible.
Kai Pearce-Paul as well.
Yeah.
He had a really good game and predicted to get 53 this
Cookies are happy?
game.
Yep.
That was a huge score. And Bradman Best, I own him. He got 47.
Look, I don't remember him having the ball very much at all. So if he's
Well,
getting 47,
that's a good sign.
Yeah,
That means he's getting base stuff.
He's going to get that.
Fletcher Sharp got the late try. That helped his score. But he's a guy that just keeps. I don't know how he gets the points, but he gets them.
Yeah.
And as I said, for those bye rounds, they play the first 4 bye rounds. So if you got them in, you're laughing.
Yeah.
The key for the Knights is, since Sharp went into 6, they've clearly said Fletcher owns the left-hand side of the field and Ponga owns the right-hand side of the field. The key this week to be let's scrap all that. Kalen, just play a natural game. You love sweeping in on the left side. Let's just go left as much as possible. All due respect to Dan Gago, he's been a great player for a long time, probably past his prime. Braven Best is in his prime. They've got to get him the ball.
Coach's corner, Paulie.
Got to do it. Melbourne Storm taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs in the final game of ANZAC Day bumper 3 match bonanza, and
that was a mouthful. That was good.
and then Cameron Munster. Well, he's my man.
Well, you're putting all the chips in on Ponga and Munster. So
Ponga's a maybe, right? Wing fullbacks. No, but in relation to Munster, I feel like Munster's against Souths coming off a loss with Origin around the corner. It's
Just
way more a sure thing.
Storm
than
off a
Connor.
loss. Storm off a
Yeah,
loss.
storm
is
off a
all you
loss,
need-
that's
all you
right.
needed is to
Yeah,
just
that's
good stop.
right. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Many back too, so the kicking duties
So
change
if
again.
you got Pappenhausen last week, you were happy with
Yeah,
his score, but now
absolutely.
you're like, oh. But it happens.
Yeah.
What other? Obviously, we have to talk about Jack Howarth.
Yeah. Well, Floggy flicked him, so.
Had to move.
Unfortunately, with the
Good
news, that was
timing,
one of
yeah.
the things you actually got right.
It was a tough. For those that don't know, Eric, who'd you bring? Katoga, who got moved to the left and didn't see the ball.
Yeah,
Max Plath, who
Plath.
got injured,
And Walsh.
and Walsh, who
He
also
got injured as well.
Yeah, so that was my lovely week, and then all those first two happened before my way to the Knights game. So it was a great weekend. For fans.
Very unlucky.
This time last
But
year, Munster
is what it
pumped
is.
out a 91.
Yeah, okay.
Same game, Anzac Day.
Well, so you got a bit of evidence behind that one, so you're all
So,
good.
yeah, that's why I'm saying it could be better. And I think Uto still and Liero still ones just to keep an eye on. Hughes is one to keep an eye on, but that's probably it for Melbourne. So let's talk about Souths. And then they've moved Latrell to fullback.
Friend of the show, Trent Liero,
Yeah,
Muller's
he'll be
favourite.
back next week, Andrew. Do we like Latrell at fullback more? I mean, some people brought him in a couple of weeks ago, so they'll be desperate for him to have a big game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had that initial the big out when he first came back, and I mean, that's his spot. So like you want to see him fire. A lot of people were excited when they saw shots of him in the off season. He was pumped and ready for it. But the thing with the fullback spot is that it's on him to get the ball and get involved with stuff. And we've seen games where he does that, and we've seen games where he doesn't do that. But if you've got him, you roll with it. But not for me. He's probably a shoe in for Origin if he just sticks to it. So for me, it's just
You and
I don't know. I think he should be centre.
Aiken moves to the edge and Jairo plays lock.
yeah. Colin
Does that
Matani.
mean Hubner comes back via the bench, or
I don't
does
think
Aiken move back to the centres
I don't
next
think
week?
so. I think he ends up being. I think Hubner's. I think we brought the comparison a few weeks ago to start. Like I think Bennett sees Hubner like he saw Plath. He's just forcing his way into the team a little bit. Like I think.
I'm worried.
There's valid concern to be worried, but I think defensively, Hubner brings way more to the table. Their biggest problem, Paulie, middles are getting destroyed. Their middles are just. We can talk about.
Arrow could move to prop.
We can talk about Latrell. We can talk about Walker all they want, but if their middles aren't getting, it's like Newey. Their middles are getting destroyed, mate. They're going nowhere.
Yeah.
Arrow could move to prop.
So that's why I think Hubner. I think once Hubner and Arrow might have to be in there to kind of just shore it up.
Well, with that, as you said, he's worried. So as soon as you hear that,
Yeah.
that's the guy you loop. Right.
Yeah.
And those
Just
who-
another red dot this week. A lot of people will
Yep.
be keen to move on from him.
We've
Yeah,
got
I get it, but I think that's trades again. We're only round 8.
I think I've
We're
saved
already
one.
trades are
Yeah, I think I've saved
trades are a premium now. People have gone very, very hard.
It's time to start.
Yeah, you got to
brakes on
stop reacting to everything after one. You can't just react over a HIA.
those. Or chase.
Yeah.
Or chase. So
Like
there's been a lot
the
of chase.
Campbell one, fine. And even you said it yourself. The Fafita one, if he's named, you hold.
I think you got to
You
hold him.
don't flick
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
You
I've-
hold. But
same
like a
with Platt.
4-week
Yeah, the
one or a
22
Walsh
broke
one,
even.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't flick a guy 1 week. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's where your looping comes in. So your
Yeah.
Kautoga, your Iongi, if you've held, they're not playing this week, you've got a chance for a double loop.
Yeah,
We'll
beautiful.
have to put up how to do that later.
Let's talk Cowboys v the Titans, and of course North Queensland had the bye last week, so those Jackson Purdue lucky owners, they'll get him
Yeah.
back. That'll be a big in. And then change in the second row. John Bateman and Jeremiah Nanai are both in, so
That's the way it should be.
McIntyre back
Yep.
to the bench.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. So
that's-
we're watching them closely. A lot of people are keen on Drinkwater, but I think one more to watch at this stage.
Mate, yeah.
Yeah, I think winger fullbacks have been, and the centres, it's just been roulette. And I think if bringing in a guy like that, it's just adding one more to the roulette for mine. I'd like a Carraz where that's a spot I don't need to, he's locked in.
Yep. Yeah, Drinkwater's very up and down.
I think this is the most dangerous game of fantasy this round.
Well, let's talk Titans because David Fifita, we didn't expect to get named, and he's there, but at 14, it's a very odd position. Has Des just gone, I just got to get this team out?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't
right?
know what's happening here.
But it goes back
Chris
to what
Randall on the edge.
It goes back to what I said a minute ago. I just don't think you can trade him. You got to just hold him and see what happens.
It's right down the centre, so like the
no
team.
Cleese Haas either.
Yeah, so the guys you could trade him to is any of the Penrith guys, obviously Raiders guys, Dolphins players, then Tigers or Sharks. So there's not a lot of options.
That's why you just have to take it. You just have to take. If he plays, he plays.
Yeah.
And if he's back next week, you go cool because he's one of the best fantasy players in the game.
What do AJ Brimson owners do now that he doesn't?
Mate, he's like he was lucky. He got a try assist.
He got a try and a try assist. He scored 34.
And he got 34.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've watched him the last few weeks where even when he hits the
Mate.
40s, always a try.
It's brutal.
He's dual position now, so he's so handy, but he's not putting up the scores. Both Fermor back in the second row. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
Watch him for a little bit longer. He's another Origin smoky potential, right? Like he could play for
There could be a
Queensland.
squad of 30 with these Origin teams the way it's
but
going.
He could get there, but I still think he's going to get to a real juicy price.
This game could be legitimately 40-32. Like, honestly.
the way the
Mate,
Titans-
there's the way they both defend. It's just,
And with 10 to go, I don't care what the score is, don't turn off. Because the other team's
well, that's Brimson time. So if you own Brimson, that's it. That's when you get his points.
And Walsh, that's
Yeah.
what he did his.
Yeah.
Let's talk Panthers v Manly. Luke, your team. Penrith are back. Nathan Cleary's back. If you sold him a few weeks ago, you want to get him straight back in
Well,
now.
that's why you don't sell him.
Or you just get lucky like me. Traded him last week. Can work out sometimes.
Max trade game.
It's okay. And then Isaiah Yeo, very consistent. Thomas Jenkins, not so consistent.
Well, Tago's in the centres.
Yeah, Garner's out for a week. So
Jenkins is the other guy that you're looping, or just
looping.
happy to have him if he scores okay.
Yeah.
But just watch his cash rise and
we've-
He just needs the ball passed to him.
Right.
and we've buried the lead here, but Turbo's back.
Well, again, it's a different. Again, just it's
Different
like Moses with Eels.
Yeah.
Different.
Turns it
team.
around.
Different. I'm not saying they're going to win, but
Does it help Garrick?
yeah.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
we wanted more from Garrick, obviously. I mean, especially against the Dragons, his old club, he usually fires. So 32 was not what
Expecting you've got to, like you said with your Newey take, you've got to expect a response here.
Yeah.
And again, this not being at Penrith is very disadvantage. It's a disadvantage for them too because
All year they've been disadvantaged.
Combank's really kind of
not a
neutral
home-
venue,
yeah.
unfortunately. So
And we've always talked about that road trip for Manly to go all the way to Penrith. Well, they don't have to do it this time.
yeah,
So-
because they're just a beast out there.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling DCE has a big game.
Yeah, I think so. Well, again,
This is-
like you said with your Ponga take, it needs a response.
And Jazz Tavanga.
Yeah, you're pretty happy if you've got
Do you get him?
You're not for 2 weeks.
So that's only 2
Too-
weeks.
it's too
not
short.
It's not enough. And
We wanted that in round one, didn't we?
Trades are a
We wanted
premium.
him-
Oh,
We
absolutely.
wanted him starting a hooker and then moving to lock. It just never
But
happened.
not only that, round one you're burning trades, whereas now's you want to you don't like you can't be doing if you've done 3 trades last week, unless you've got
starting to calm
absolute
down.
fires, you got to at least save yourself one this week.
Let's talk Raiders v the Dolphins, and of course the Canberra Raiders have been outstanding, mind you, so have the Dolphins. So 2 good teams at the moment on hot streaks. And what can we say about the Canberra Raiders? Everyone is a fantasy success.
This could be game of the round because you've got two
the way
teams
it's
that
going.
are super hot now. They were
Middle of the
literally
day.
everyone was off the Dolphins. Now they're back.
If you're in Canberra, I think I'm back before that. I'm in Canberra
see
this
a lot-
week, but I think I'm back before this game. But
okay.
you've got to get there.
I
Get
see
to the game.
I see a lot of long range tries here.
So, Matty Nicholson owners, are you worried now
No.
that the bench is stronger? He only got only a 49.
Well, but that's it only for
Yeah.
You take
For him,
that
if
every
we-
day
yeah.
of the
start
week.
seeing sub 40s.
Take that every day of the
Yeah.
week.
Tom Starling still got into the 40s. Joseph Tapane, he's one of those guys where he can drop back. Like he had that huge score the week before. I think he's more an Origin cover guy than at this.
He's one of the big mints to have during that Origin period.
Yeah.
But Hudson Young, if you started with him,
You're
you went
laughing.
absolutely.
You're
Because
absolutely laughing.
He's like Yo from years gone back, where he's never in the conversation because he's always up there.
Well, he's one of those players in
but
years gone by. He's only done it a few weeks and then he's kind of dropped back to the 30s. But this year, every game is like a 7.
But he's just in every play though too. That's the other thing
Yeah,
as
he's
well.
getting
And he's doing
involved.
that. He's doing that for feeder thing where he runs sideways and he'll do that little offload, and it's like that's just fantasy gold.
Fogarty owners will be happy.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
I think,
advertised.
I think he's almost a second
Great.
half pick for me.
Great buy schedule.
He was the Munster trade.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like he was the.
Paulie's talked me into it, so we'll see how Munster goes.
There you
but
go,
that is
Paulie.
the
All
target.
on.
Well, you might try and get them both. That'd be the
You
ideal.
want, yeah.
Yeah.
Cleary, Fogarty and Munster. Let's talk the Dolphins. I love Herbie. I absolutely love him. I know I'm not saying this
you
week,
You love him.
but I just feel like if you can get the best centre in the game and lock him in by round 12, why not?
He's just got such a fantasy relevant game. Just literally just throws out a fend, even if it's a mini fend. It's just literally to get that tackle break. He
does that hit and spin that Carraz does, where he just hit, spin, offload.
What's the
And it could be going nowhere, but it still counts as an offload.
Absolutely.
And-
And it's what's the terminology? He owns himself in fantasy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and we're going to do a show at the end of this year because we do it every year where we say what's our one regret, and mine is not starting with Isaiah Gartoa because I'd done all the data work on him and I really loved him, but you know when we're going to have Cleary, I just wish I'd done it. I wish I'd gone him.
I think this time next year, I think he'll be almost a second half picked.
Well,
He's only getting better.
he's almost getting too good
Yeah.
because his price is just going up and up. Another great score. Max Plath named at hooker. That's a big deal. So
Well, we got to really again.
Late game in the round,
I know Floggy owns him, but
late.
you just got to see how he manages through the
make
games.
sure you got enough cover.
It's the same
If you
as
own Fafita and Plath and they both late scratchings,
Yeah.
yeah. Just be prepared. Make sure you got at least a few dots. That's when you're in that realm. If you did 3
Yeah.
trades try and hold at least a trade so you've got that as an option for yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Questions are incoming. Get them in. We've got one game to go. Sunday afternoon rugby league at the Mecca Leichhardt Oval. West Tigers versus the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. And oh boy, shall we say it? The 5'8" is back. Lockie Galvin has been named. Will he play? Well, that's for other people to decide, but he has been named.
Yes, he has.
Well, they're a lot. Again,
Staff and Tower owners rejoice.
Well,
Absolutely. We saw the difference and the impact
Saw
of
the
that
difference.
for Tower. So
Well, again, Toa just needs more ball. I mean, it's a miracle he got the score that he got, to be
Well, he
honest.
showed how good he was in that second half because he made a few things out of nothing.
But all their
That first
attack
half.
on their right is just way better with Galvin in the team.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a no-brainer. And
yep.
Terrell May, those that captained him, well done.
Yep.
Because he didn't come off. And he scored a try.
And
He
also-
actually should have scored more,
and we'll worry
really,
about-
with a
from-
try in 80 minutes.
Well, and he got the
they've
injury
got
of the
knock and great
kickoff. So
start. So
Could have gone the
you're
other
worried
way.
the whole time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you
Interesting game.
held Alex Seyfarth, then
Royce Hunt
you got
back
a good
too.
score. Royce Hunt, that's going to help. But that means May's going to drop. So I don't have May in my considerations for captain this week. Because I think Hunt will come and take some of those minutes. They only played 16.
Yeah.
Suka didn't get on the field. Cronulla, well, really, unless you're Longy, who brought in Nico Hines, most people don't own any Sharks. They're just watching.
not really, no.
You know, Andrew owns AFB.
They're just going
who
about
I
their
like.
business. They're just kind of been a little bit. They're just
Stone Street would have been a good pickup.
very similar to Dragons. They play that brand. They just
Yeah. Hiroti. I know
Methodical.
Timbo Slice was
Yep.
keen on him, and he's had some good scores
Nakora
back
and
to back.
Wilton are always
Yeah, McKinnis. Yeah, they might be buy round pickups.
Yep.
Some of these guys. All right.
confident.
50-50. I think we're a good show.
You going to be there?
I'm thinking about it, but it's school holidays.
We're going to let people know for autographs and photos.
Yeah, well, it's school holidays, so I might be on family duties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you
I
go.
can always watch it on.
have the Sharpie in the
9
back pocket,
Foxtel KO.
just in case.
That's it.
Let's get your questions, shall we?
Fire
Andrew
away.
Barker, I'm thinking Isaiah Gartoa as a pot option to replace Campbell. Yeah, I mean, it's decent.
Why not, Andrew? I like it.
As long as you've got wing fullback cover.
Yeah.
Because that was the beauty of Campbell. He played both. So.
Who am I to say no to that with the guys playing that well and he's getting good scores?
His price is. I didn't realise how expensive he is now too. Katoa's
Yeah,
up
that's why I wish I
700s.
started with him.
Absolutely.
He's
Yeah.
500s.
Brainy.
Well, if you splurge that much on Campbell, why would you not splurge on Qatar?
He's got a good buy. He's got a good buy schedule.
Yep. And they have finished their buys early too.
Terry Evans. Are you born from Sri Lanka? Is Munster a sell? Well, I wouldn't sell him.
I had him
Not
on
with the
chopping block.
91.
You're fired up. You're saying he's saying the opposite, Terry. So he's going for
Not
it.
with the 91. Like this time last year. That's huge.
So
Give him one more week.
One more week.
If he gets anything under 40,
Yeah.
then
Just remember, Paulie.
I'm with you, Terry, and I've got him on notice.
Paulie said Munster and Ponga are getting hundreds. So there you go.
I'm not sure about to combine. Bradley Preston, how good to have him in
There it is.
the house this week. Great mail about Cartoga last week. Should I be worried will Kelmer's force break? Well, we didn't talk about the Eels because they're on bye this week.
Right.
So,
That's a fantastic question.
fill in the punters that might not have watched last week because we did suggest.
Well, no, mate, it was all you, mate. It was all you.
Picked it, mate. You picked it like a dirty nose.
Kelmer
That's right.
Tuolangi had been practicing with Moses all off season and that right thing. And you saw when Moses put him in for the try, came over, the big slap on the backside. Yes, because that's what Moses wants him to do because he knows it's going to lead to points.
Yeah.
So as long as Tuolangi's playing, which he might not be, he's got to handle a potential suspension, he'll play right.
Yeah.
If he's not playing, well, then it opens up the door for Cartoga. But in saying that, there's no guarantee Cartoga moves back to the right.
Yeah, but I just think as well, that's what. But the reason we flagged it is because we knew the points. He was getting 40s and 50s the week before that, and as soon as he moved, the production went down.
If you owned him, you were fine. But we were sort of saying, don't get him this week because of the.
But if you owned him, you probably shouldn't have played him. That was the whole idea.
Or at least
At least
last.
yeah.
It was last. It was the last game.
But that's what I mean. Have him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you had to bring him in because Hubner went down,
Like a
okay,
Plath or
sure.
something, swap in.
That's why you got to listen to the great man. The great man's all over it.
Yeah.
Savgun, trade out Cartoga,
There you go.
Sam Smith or Pakes. I would get rid of Pakes out of those three because I'm worried he might start losing cash.
Yeah, and
Cartoga's still got a very small break even.
And Sav
so he's
too.
fine.
To the point, we just don't know what the plan is with Cartoga now. If he stays, what Paulie says, if he does stay where he is now, he probably will be because he won't. He'll just
28 break even. I'm not too worried.
no. But I wouldn't surprise me if he switches
In
back.
fact, that would. I don't think that's even right
No, I think
because he doesn't play
Don't
this
worry
week.
about it.
Might even be less.
you
But
go.
Sandon Smith also potential chopping block, right? He's
Well,
got
I
to get
got-
a good
You haven't
score
already.
this week.
You haven't already.
I got rid of him last week.
Yeah, last week was probably the way to go. Mr. Burton, can I swap Ponga to Kiraz or is it two sideways? You could consider it because we love Kiraz. It's just, will Ponga have a leap with Origin around the corner?
Yeah.
I mean, you're the Newcastle supporter. Like the attack's been wayward. That's been kind.
Yeah.
How did?
Fine.
Yeah.
But I think Lucas is a major puzzle piece.
Okay.
But the Saifidi out's still a big out. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Couple more questions.
Probably
to
wouldn't do
wrap it up.
that. No.
Let's see who we got. Dom, good to see you, Dom. Afternoon, gentlemen. Good game for our head-to-head matchup. Paulie, you have to tell me which of us won.
I
Both
I-
had good scores.
Yeah.
Do you, Blake, see Preston making Origin, or should I play it safe and take the value in KPP?
Well, he should take the value, and he's great man because he's the bodyguard. So he should be going cookies, mate. KPP.
I'm a Preston owner, so
Yeah.
I'll say Jacob. What do you
Again, but that's the reason I mentioned it earlier. You got to factor that in now. I think I'd probably KPP had a great game, and to Floggy's point,
think? No bite
can they
around
play
18.
any worse?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
said that round one. and we've said it a few times.
The only
Yeah.
danger for KPP is if they did change
Lucas
the
is
game
back.
plan with Lucas back.
Yeah, 'cause
and
that was
really force
the
it
juggle.
the other way. But
Frizzell, they're using Frizzell very differently
Yeah.
to years
Yeah.
gone by. So I think KPP is a safe bet. But looking at that though, I mean,
I think they're both going great.
just
so-
know the value in KPP is also the buy rounds. He plays all the buy rounds, but remember
English.
you only have two, so you only have two edges.
I like it, Griff. I'd do it, mate.
KPP.
Yeah, both selections are good. Are we holding Tamale to round 15 now? Asks Alex 12.
Well,
I wish I did Tamale to get to Cleary. I had to get Cleary back, but I didn't want to do it. It was just
he's good. He's a good player. He's literally what he's. I think he's going to turn the next Carras, or even Marju.
Marju.
Very similar. Those
I compare that
offloady
to-
tackle bus guys.
and they got him
return
more
guys.
involved this.
Like,
the
yeah,
week
they got him.
just gone.
That's the
That was
difference. They got him way more involved.
Yeah,
But now
Way
that
more.
they've seen that, though, we're hoping that they hold on to that. That's what you want, because you saw him do it. Even from round one, we watched it, and his returns are just amazing. But he's just got to get the ball.
You got a shout out for Alex Twal too before we wrap up.
Yeah, he's playing well.
He's playing well.
All right.
He's keeping the 13 spot.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure it's not the actual.
Well, who knows, mate? Who knows? I'm just saying.
Good show. Eric, thanks so much for coming down.
Yeah, thanks, Vloggy. It was good, mate.
And the buy round stuff, make sure you follow his advice because it will make a big difference to your team overall over the 27 rounds. Luke, thanks as always.
Mate,
We'll see you next week.
Locking in Ponga and Munster for the hundreds.
Well, we hope so. Imagine if they do it.
Mate,
I'm already
as I
thinking
said,
now I've got to...
You're on the money
all
about
these
Cowtoga.
questions, I'm already like, maybe I can't get Ponga. Maybe I've got to go get, someone else.
So trust the great
Maybe
man.
I've got to hold Hubner because that was the way I was going to go
Trust
get
the
him.
great man. That's all I'll say.
All right, and I'm Paulie G. We will catch you next week. If you're listening on the podcast, why not come on board on YouTube every Tuesday from 4. We answer your questions, we have a bit of fun, and we analyse all those team lists for fantasy. And other than that, heaps of content fantasy-wise on the app and at nrl.com all week. So stay tuned for that. But for now, it's see you later.